What's up, guys? We just had the Hall of Heroes announcement for June, and it is this guy, Antares or something. It's a great Hall of Heroes. He is excellent food for all your Necro needs, basically. So I thought what we would do is look at him specifically, look at what he's good food for, but this is a really, really quality Hall of Heroes. Like, out of all the options coming out, this was one of the 2 or 3 I was most excited about. So let's take a look. It's got a crit skill and lead in Arena, 24 crit. First skill, or this is his passive, I'm sorry. First skill is the normal Lich, attack 2 or 3 times, decrease attack speed. Skills up to usually about 65% and is very effective at adding a slow. All the Liches that have this skill, it's really, really good at adding a slow. Sinkhole's a weird one. It's on him and the light one, I believe. Inflicts damage to all enemies, so it's an AoE. Consumes souls, recovers 50% of the damage, absorbs the attack bar. So damage, attack bar, AoE, that sort of thing. And then Transcendence is what makes him useful. He can gain a turn anytime, an enemy turn, and so it's really good at countering things that takes lots of turns. So unicorns, pandas, that sort of thing, anything that goes crazy. What's neat about it is attack power and crit rate is increased for 1 turn after. So he gets 1 chance to hit really, really hard right after. He does not really have a use except as a late game RTA toy, I would say. Maybe there's people using him somewhere else, but he's sort of a specific counter to specific things people do in RTA, and not a lot of people commit the runes to him to make him good at it. Foi kind of pioneered him as a unit for that purpose, and he does a great job with him, but I'm not familiar with a lot of other people that use him in that role. So if you're farming him, you're probably not farming him to play him, but keep one. You know, there may be some crazy unit that comes out that this guy's the perfect counter, because what he does, he's the only one that does it, so that's pretty unique. So I would definitely hang on to one of him. If you are thinking about feeding them all, I would hang on to one, just like, normal Hall Heroes. All right, the blue one, Rigel. Out of the regular elements, it's sort of a toss-up between which one's better, Rigel or Fuco. It kind of comes down to personal preference a little bit, and kind of what you're trying to do or what kind of runes you have to put on him. But here's the slow. This is the thing that makes these Liches so devastating. The defense break on a 2-turn cooldown, I believe. It's really, really strong, and the multiplier is really, really good for it too. So randomly attacks the enemy several times, weakens the defense for 2 turns with a 35% chance, and exchanges the decreased attack with a freezing effect. Kind of cool. The AoE break is random, which is the drawback to it, but in single target situations, it's not a drawback at all, and it hits multiple times. So hits twice, hits 3 times, that's a passive, so you're looking at a great Necro monster, right? This is gains immunity against inability effects and decreases the chance of receiving a critical hit by 25%. So anywhere where you are going to be stunned or frozen or something like that, no. He says no thank you. So in theory, he has a use in PvP, but in actuality, his base stats don't really allow it. In particular, the low speed. Maybe in like 4-star league or something like that, he might have a place. But he's sort of a weaker version of Fire Monkey, who's like kind of debatably a weaker version of Jaeger, the light dark monster. But he's a really, really good Necro monster because those waves will stun you in Necro. And you set him to go last, he brings your slow, he brings your defense break, and he doesn't do anything else. He hits multiple times, he's great. Rune and Violent Revenge, you're good to go. You can make him really slow. In Arena, HP 33% lead. You don't end up really using it much, though, if you were to use him in Arena. All right, Fuco. The other side of the coin here. So same thing. So exactly the same. The only difference is the passive, which is kind of strange that that's the only difference, but that's the way it is. He gets a shield. And if you're attacked, he decreases their attack speed. So it won't really affect the boss in Necro, because when he counterattacks, when he's attacked and he would counter, he will not break the shield. So that's not really a factor, but it gives him really, really good survivability all the way there. So he's a really nice tank. Some people used to use him for early game farming, because he could farm pretty well at 5-star, but now there's so many options that he's not really considered in that role. He's the one I chose to build out of the 3 elementals, primarily because I hadn't pulled the water one yet, which was a HOH a long time ago. But I fully skilled a Fuco and used him in Necro for a long, long time until I pulled the twins. And had I not pulled the twins, I'd probably still be using him right now. So he's really good. But this is just sort of a debate. One thing to consider between the two is, do you have any other use for them at all? Like, do you have, you know, some sort of wind team that you need him in, or do you need a water damage dealer? Or how does your Necro team coordinate? Like, if he gets pulled because he's doing the most damage, what do you have to bring him down? And if your answer is all fire units, then maybe Fuco's a better choice because they can burn him down faster. So that would be the only kind of consideration in my mind that I can think of between the two for Necro. But definitely both premier Necro monsters. All right, on to the LD. Halphas. This is great, this 24% attack leader skill. He's just a big old tank, and you see him a lot in late rush hour arena defenses. So here's the slow. Here's the sinkhole skill. And then this is the thing that's crazy. In certain comps, he cannot die. If they don't have a way to deal with this, he doesn't die. And the way I've found to deal with it is buff removal. When he gets below 50% enough and he starts healing up, take it off as fast as you can. You can put a heal block on him right before you smack him down below 50%, and then he won't heal back past 50%. Or just kill him. Get him to 51% ideally, and then nuke him down in one hit. There's not a lot of options there. It's interesting. It's a good buff for him. Makes him unique. So if you have him, definitely I would skill him up. Though my guildies were like, he doesn't need skill ups, which is probably true for his role, but I mean, he's a great kind of a premier unit that has uses that no other unit in the game has. So if it were me and I had him, I would skill him up. Finally, we've got Grego here, which I do have, and I'm super excited about this HOH because I'm missing, ironically, 5 skill ups on Grego, and I don't really feel like he can shine unless he's fully skilled. So here's the slow. Here's the AoE defense break on a 2-turn cooldown when max skilled. And then his passive is really strange. King of the Dead. Decreases the inflicted damage on you and the recovered amount by 50%. The attack power increases by 50% if an enemy or ally dies. It accumulates up to 5 times. So let's go take a look at that on my Grego, because that's an interesting ability. So mine's kind of ruined. I mean, you know, kind of. But here's the skill up issue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it's still on 4 turns. I need those skills to get it down to 2 turns, which would be much better. But looking at the skill here, the attack power increases by 50% if an enemy or ally dies, accumulates 5 times. So that's 50% times 5, 250%, and it's off of base attack. So his base attack is 615. So 250% of 615, 12, 1500 attack. That's a lot. So mine right here is on around 1900 attack, something like that. So we're talking about 3,300 attack. I mean, that's like over most elite bombers, endgame bombers, in terms of attack. So you can, you know, make sure he's got the crit and crit damage that you want. I mean, this is maybe not ideal for me, but make sure he's got those stats, because when he starts building up that attack, that's the last stat that'll kind of slide into place. And then throw an attack buff on him, and it's insane. Luckily for him, he's an HP type, so 12,000 HP is quite a lot, considering his passive. The fact that all damage is decreased by 50%, that's really, really good. So if you know, don't get defense broken, for all intents and purposes, his base HP is 24,000, you know? Like, it's decreased by 50%. So, I mean, that's quite good. So I'm going to give him a try with some real runes, some real violent runes, I think. Maybe Violent Revenge, because I like the concept of the slow on the revenge. Like, slow is just a good debuff, but we'll see. I'm going to give him a real opportunity to see how he shines. The one thing that I didn't mention that I should have is this King of the Dead thing. What's neat about him in Necro is when the Necro boss dies, he gets a stack. When he steals your monster and you kill him, you kill the monster that he stole, you get a stack. So you're going to be getting some stacks in ways that matter for the boss. So he will do a ton of damage at the end Necro boss. So I personally think he is the best of the Liches for Necro, and quite possibly one of the premier units in the game for Necro, because he does 2 hits, 3 hits, he brings slow, he brings a defense break, he is hard to kill, and he hits like a truck. There's a couple of ways around the negative side of his passive, the recovery amount decreased by 50%. One's name is Chasoon. She's amazing. She doesn't care about recovery, she cares about balancing HP. So anything that cares about balancing HP is going to heal him for more than a traditional healer. So imagine he's permanently got heal block on, but a little bit gets through. but just get around it the way you normally would. So the Fire Undyne, I think, the Harmonia should do that. I am curious how Vampire works on him. I've read that he recovers the full amount from Vampire and it's not affected by his passive. I've never tried it. So it's just a matter of how much damage does he do to be sustainable on Vampire, and will it ignore the passive. So I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that. I will look into it maybe when I do a spotlight on it. But that's the other kind of theory I had on getting around that little negative aspect, the healing issue. So that's what's going on with him. He's great. This arena skill is not horrible either, 40% resist. So those are the liches you'll be looking at for the HOH. Farm 5. I was pretty tempted to farm 10 for a while, but I've been slowly getting liches to get this guy up, and now I just need 5. So I think 5's plenty. I don't think I need to spend 10,000 guild points to finish off my blue one, which I don't really use as much anymore. But the fact that it's one of those HOHs that made me consider that is a good sign for this HOH. It's a really, really good HOH. So great job, Come To Us. Thank you for the liches. I'm going to enjoy them. I hope you guys will enjoy them, and I hope that looking at the skills and the places they're useful in the game for each one will help you with your decisions on who to skill up or which ones to farm or anything like that. So anyway, enjoy the HOH. Have fun this weekend, and yeah, go get those liches. All right, take care, guys.